Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Okay, bear with me while I get set up here. Okay, bear with me while I get set up here. Sorry for the long intro, just waiting for some folks to join. I'm getting some stuff ready. I'll put chapter stops in later, so in case you are at this point, you can look for the chapter stops to skip this boring intro part. Got some space music in the background to make it a little more palatable so it's not dead air. Okay, get started here. So it's been very cold weather here in the Bay Area lately, and it was hard to find some standing water outside because even though it's cold, whatever water was out had already kind of evaporated, except for a couple pools. So I got a little bit of gutter water. There's a dog park nearby, so I grabbed some water from the dog bowl. Might be interesting because dogs always carry lots of weird things. And got some more water from a planter outside that's kind of half dead, but I found plenty of nematodes and other cool stuff in there. So let's just have a look and see what we can find. Fix this focus on this guy here. Let's do a little scan. You see some dead plant material there. Change the light levels a little bit. There, got a little bit of dark field. That'll be nice. This is actually a little bit more oblique lighting than dark field, but it does provide some good contrast. Excuse me. You can always find little colorful bits in here. Could be any old thing. Could be biological, could be man-made. That red bit there is kind of interesting. Some little guy swimming through there. You can probably barely see it there. Very small. Kind of orbiting around the red thing. And yeah, it's very small. If he stays in that orbit, it's worth going in to look at him. Alright, got a few things in there actually. Let's take a look. Right off the bat, we found something. Okay, well, there we go. Look at that. Okay, it went off screen. Let's see if there's anything hanging out here to look at. this scale, this is about 400 power. So you can start to see things wiggling. Some of the wiggling is, at this scale, most of the wiggling is caused by Brownian motion, which is heat from the lamp exciting the water molecules. And since these critters are so small and all the debris is so small, a water molecule is a big thing. And water molecules en masse hitting them makes them bounce around. As you guys have studied atoms at all, atoms are never sitting still. All the parts of an atom are constantly in motion, just kind of wiggling like that. In the case of an electron, it's orbiting in a nondescript path, as you know, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, where you may know where an electron is going, kind of, sort of, but you'll never find the exact. You can't know the direction and the location. That's cool. This little guy here, making some motion here. So that is not Brownian motion. That is an actual live critter of some sort. Very small, though. I'm already at 400 power, and it's very, very small. But anyway, so it's doing some of its own motion. But there are plenty of things around that are wiggling with Brownian motion. Brownian is even a concept for randomization in music and other stuff. You can get a synthesizer with a Brownian motion kind of noise source. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That guy's really moving around quite a bit. I might have to go in for the oil lens, which is 1,000 power. Usually I wait for a while to do the high-end stuff. Hey David, what's up? Thanks for joining. Found something right off the bat in this sample. This is a kind of a puddle in a gutter near home here. I was making a comment earlier. It's been very, very cold here. Well, cold for this area, about 40 degrees at night, and dry for the most part. So a lot of the standing water is just not around, but I did find a couple things walking around tonight. And next to this reddish debris of some sort, there's this little guy wiggling. Ooh, there's something bigger there too. Look at that motion. What is making that move? Something much bigger here. Looks like. That whole cluster is moving. Wow. Can't quite make out what's doing that, but there's something big because it's moving that whole cluster. There's that little guy again. Another little guy over here. A couple little guys here. They're very small. This is 400 power, so I think it's time to go in with the oil. Let's do it. Yeah, one of my ADAC modules has a Brownian motion setting on it for randomization. Thought it was kind of funny because, you know, I studied Brownian motion in biology. Didn't think it would be ever on a synthesizer. So pretty funny. All right. Hope I don't mess this up. Sometimes when you shift the slide with an oil lens, it does make everything move. Let's hope it doesn't mess it up. Okay, it's quite dark, so let's... Oh yeah, it shifted everything a little bit. Need more light. Much more light. So you can see the debris is kind of shifting around there. Something's kind of moving on its own, but it doesn't look very cohesive. Let me scan around and see what moved. Now you got a little guy shaking right there. So at this level, we're getting to where you can see individual bacteria pretty well. Just trying to figure out what these guys are. They're not moving a whole lot. They're wiggling in place with a little bit of motion from like a flagellum, so they're probably bacteria. Very small. Remember, this is 1,000 power. And I forgot to get my little micron scale out. And I have a slide that actually has a scale on it. And I forgot how much size is this field of view, but this is a bacterium. If memory serves, it's probably around 20 to 30 microns across, perhaps smaller. I think your average cheek cell, it's been a long time since I looked at my cheek cells, but when you scrape your mouth, get the epithelial tissue from the cheek cells in your mouth, and those around 50, 60 microns, I think. I'll have to do that again one of these days. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here wiggling around. There is a nice shot right there. Is that coming in? Let me move this view here. You can see at this level, because the objective is part of the, oh, you can see the flagellum right there. That's pretty cool. See that long whip-like thing? It's like a little hair moving around. Helps when it's slightly out of focus to see it. There's a nice flagellum. Let me change the light a little bit on this guy. Needs more contrast. There you go. You can see the flagellum moving around there. It's kind of, I can use my mouse on this one. You can see right there's a flagellum whipping off the side, and it looks like there's another one over there. Some of these guys have multiple flagella. And all kinds of stuff cruising by out of focus. The very tiny stuff cruising by out of focus is most likely various types of bacteria. With this unusual motion, some of them. But they're really cruising by there. Likes this little debris, whatever this debris is. How's the balance, David, of the voice with the music? Is it obnoxious or is it pretty well balanced? I can't tell. I'm not listening to the stream. Yeah, you can really see the flagella there. Off to the about 5 o'clock. I'm not sure what this guy is. He's very small. I've seen plenty that look kind of like this, but they're usually single cell plants, like Chlamydomonas and a few others that look like this. But this guy's pretty interesting. It's just found in gutter water out in the street. Hey Rob, how's it going? Barely hear music? Okay, I'll turn it up. I still want to blast it. There's a couple streams where I screwed up and had the damn music on too loud. Hopefully that helps a little bit. So, anyway, this is for recap. This is gutter water outside. I couldn't find a lot of standing water right now with the dry, cold weather, but this is a fun little, very small, single-cell dude in the gutter water outside, and it's a flagellate. You can see the big flagella moving around, out of focus a little bit, like little hairs moving around, but quite long. It's hard because this is 1,000 power, so there's actually, because of the refractive index of air at this power, you have to use oil immersion lens, a certain kind of optically perfect oil for this type of objective lens. So you actually have to immerse the oil, the objective in the oil to get the better refractive index, so you don't get all the distortions. And you can see image quality is pretty good. The problem is as I focus and move a little bit, you see everything moves with it because it's all connected now. So you have to be very careful. Like when I use the XY stage to move around the slide, it'll kind of drag things along with it. So I'll just stay here for a while so I don't mess this little guy up. Try to play with some different light settings here. If I can get any more pop here. Just trying to get a little more oblique lighting on this guy, but it's not cooperating. I'll just stick with that for now. There you go, out of focus you can really see the flagella moving there. Like long eyelashes. Increase the detail a little bit with some contrast. That's pretty good right there. You can actually see details in the cell. That's probably a large vacuole there, that little circular thing on the edge of the cell. Could be a contractile vacuole to make the water balance in the cell, like I've shown in other videos. Without knowing this guy very well, it's hard to tell sometimes. It's got a few of them in there. When it moves, you can see the other spheres in there. Nucleus would be more obvious and in most cases darker. Oh, look at that. The flagella just knocked something by. Stick this cursor out here, it's ruining my video. So it's doing something here. Either found something to ingest. As you know, these guys don't have mouths, they're single cells, so they have to make similar to the food vacuole, they have to, that's stored inside, or the contractile vacuole and various other things they have for running the cell. They they're able to pull in stuff and create a new membrane around it through their cell membrane, creating basically a food vacuole. It's like an individual microstomach that lasts for the course of the digestion, and then it breaks apart until they make another one. And when the cells eventually die, as you've seen in a couple of my streams, all the vacuoles and other organelles just are released into the water, and they'll hang about for a while. They won't break her up immediately. Sometimes you'll see them just kind of hovering around and eventually pop like little balloons. This is pretty fun. This is an interesting little guy. Whoa. So he's creating a current there, moving that flagellum around. And probably that thing was, yeah. They keep coming by him, so I think he's creating kind of a current. See that? That's pretty funny. So depending on what this species is, and again it's hard to tell at this point, but this might be its normal feeding behavior as it's pulling stuff toward it, and just from size alone it's being rejected. That one might actually he might have just grabbed that one. I think he's trying to get that one, but it won't go. Yeah, it's not quite making it. Some have like a little bit of a gullet, like a paramecium have a real clear gullet, like a little groove, oral groove thing, and acts kind of like a mouth a little bit, even though it's really just the border of the cell that's kind of folded in, and that's where they form the food vacuoles. But more complicated stuff like a rotifer, which is multicellular, has moving parts inside that actually create a suction. You see these kind of looks like little spinning blades almost. We used to call it the Norelco rototract blades because you see like 2 or 3 parts in different angles spinning just like those blades do in the commercials, and they're creating a suction to bring in food because they can swim around a bit, but a lot of them are kind of sessile. They basically attach this foot that they have, this kind of a 2 or 3 lobed foot, to a base, and then to give them leverage, and they'll just start pumping this this mastax, this kind of jaws inside, and that action of that whole apparatus plus the spinning of the cilia on the what's called the corona creates a major suction. I mean, you'll see them pulling in stuff from 5 or 6 body lengths away, sometimes further. Sometimes you just look for a trail of stuff going somewhere and go, oh, that's a rotifer. He's pulling stuff in for food again. And you see it bounce off the corona as it's being rejected. It's basically size rejection. And in something like a tardigrade, they actually have a fairly small mouth opening, even though they're also multicellular. And they have these 2 stylets that come out, and they'll actually puncture the prey, deflate it like a balloon, and suck it in. But the prey has to get close enough for the stylets to hit, and you'll see them sometimes struggling to get the prey there to puncture it, to suck it in. And one of the rotifer videos I put up, it's a pre-made video I did with subtitles and music and stuff that I actually made. And it's you see the stylets relaxed and sticking out of the head because it's dead. There's quite a hub of activity here. All kinds of stuff cruising by. It's hard to tell if some of it's swimming by and some of it's being sucked in. That kind of motion looks like it's being sucked in. And you can see there are a few different characters here. There's that little sphere that's out of focus, and the bigger one I've been concentrating on that's got the long flagella. Damn. That motion. It's crazy. You can try and animate this, Rob. This would be a fun thing to try in Animation Master. I haven't done any micro stuff yet with 3D. There's a nice shot of the body there. You can see the whole cell. So those 2 kind of white spheres there, those are some kind of vacuole Could be contractile vacuoles. I'm not seeing them contract. So there could be food vacuoles, storage vacuoles. Your own cells have similar vacuoles in them. We have one, actually some are nasty. One's called a peroxisome, and it actually contains basically hydrogen peroxide and some other stuff. And they're called suicide bags. When they pop, usually on purpose, the cell is basically killed and dissolves. But there's a disease, I forgot what it's called, but where you can get peroxisomes and other things in your cells popping all over the place, and you just have massive cell death in your body, like almost like an autoimmune thing. And one of my instructors talked about a student who is going through that. It's just brutal because at the time I don't think they had a cure for it, so the person was just slowly dying. It's pretty brutal. I'll have to, I'm usually busy Saturday mornings doing that synth stream in Australia, but if you do a show on flagella, Rob, I'll definitely forego some sleep to check it out. I'd like to see your take on that. It'd be fun to make some 3D little critters. I don't think we have a show. Yeah, we don't have a show this Saturday. So the last one for the year was just this last Saturday. So Rob, if you're doing an animation thing this Saturday, I'll definitely join. So I won't be busy doing the other thing. This guy's really active. There you go. You can see it's definitely got multiple flagella there. Depth of field is so bad at this magnification. You have to constantly focus through them to see all the parts. It's a good little specimen, though. Oh, damn. No answer time. Okay. I understand. That's a pretty good shot right there. Lots of suction there. Look at that. Stuff flying by. You can see some stuff moving in the cell. I think it may have actually grabbed one of those little guys that was bouncing around. There's another dark section in there that wasn't there before. Unless it just rotated into view. So it might have actually already consumed something. It's funny, at first I didn't see it. I just saw that kind of reddish blob that's next to it because it really caught my eye. It's like an unusual shade of red in a field of just a bunch of junk and sand and grit and stuff from the puddle. And then all of a sudden I saw it wiggle a little bit because you can see it's still wiggling the whole thing quite a bit. So a lot of times you can't find these guys directly. You have to look for the evidence that they're there. So stuff is moving. Or in this case, if you see stuff cruising toward them because of suction they create, you can often find these guys, even when they're very small. Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe the 31st, Rob. Thanks. I haven't had a chance to catch one in a while. It'll be fun to check it out. There's a good flagella shot there, and you can see some of the okay. See the contents are flickering. Those are contractile vacuoles. You see them pumping. There you go. Two white balls are basically in there pumping away. That's keeping it from being inundated with water, because osmosis wants to create a balance, and he's quite salty on the inside as far as water is concerned, and without those he will pop. Ooh, that was cool. So that little thing, that was spiral bacteria. You know, they got like a lightning bolt shape. You suck it in so fast you can't see it very well. But when they swim along an axis. They basically spin about an axis with cilia around them. Very cool, and this allows them, like a corkscrew, allows them to basically quickly go through dense material, like decaying cell material and plant material and stuff. Whereas a spherical thing would just get kind of balled up or blocked from entering, but the spiral shape is very, very interesting just to see it go through material. Nature's clever solutions to stuff. There you go. Look at those contractile vacuoles going. Pump, pump, pump. This is essentially the same as if you watch clams and mussels and other filter feeders, you know. Sitting out there just planting in a spot and just making a suction and eating whatever comes by that fits. That big motion right there, the big glob moving, I think the cell's starting, the slide is starting to dry up. You get that big wave motion as the water starts to shrink to a smaller space. So I've been on this slide for a while, so it might start to dry up again, as it usually does. But pretty good. First slide of the night from random gutter water, and I got a nice critter. I don't think I've seen this one before. I've seen the ones like it, but I need to do some stills and enhance them. Do some figuring out what this little guy is. It's very active though. See if I can find my other diaphragm patch stops, because then I can do a little more control of the... I moved some stuff around recently and I can't find that bag. Where the hell did I put that thing? Need that to find my patch stops. Kind of did this last minute tonight without too much prep, so I don't have all my tools ready. But normally I could find my patch stops. Maybe not. Not in the cards for tonight. Have to make do with what I have. There's different oblique lighting techniques you can use, dark field and other kinds of tricks, and you have to use a different patch stop for each objective lens. So we can make a few more adjustments here. A little more contrast there. Let's adjust this ambient generator a little bit. This little character is quite busy. Oh yeah, nice flagellum shot there. Those vacuoles are still pumping. You can see it kind of coil up the flagellum like a spring a little bit and then kind of lash it out. can see there's quite a bit of texture on the outside of the cell there when I change the focus. And I grabbed a chunk of some stuff, but don't think it was palatable. Or it was too big, I think. There are some really cool bacteria and things floating around now. Little micro. I've seen a few micro colonies floating by kind of off screen. They can unfortunately the camera won't pick them up. Like little colonial bacteria, little spheres. They're called, the three basic bacterial shapes are little spheres called cocci. Like Streptococcus is a classic sphere-shaped bacterium. So you've heard of Streptococcus before. It causes a lot of ailments. And then you have a bacillus, which is kind of a short rod, almost like a cold capsule you get your medicine in, or like the shape of a Vicodin pill. And those are bacilli, little rods. Oh, look at that. The water's moving. Starting to dry up on me. Starting to dry up. Got a wall of water. Little guy's still there, though. Look at that. Still there. Yeah, there's the slide drying up. Alright, come on. Little dude is still there, but I don't know if it didn't survive that or not. It was quite of an abrupt bang up there. Cell is still there, but it doesn't look like it's really moving like it was before. But there's the wavefront of the water as it's starting to evaporate. It's funny, I haven't had this close for a while with a wavefront. Moving a whole lot faster at this angle. Anyway, bacilli are the rod-shaped thing. So like E. coli is a classic bacillus. Little micro rod-shaped things in your microscope. Little E. coli, the guy that lives in your gut, in your intestines and your large intestines and stuff like that, which actually do give us some benefits. We get some vitamins from them in return for giving them a place to live, but when you have medical problems from like a ruptured colon or something like that, then you have a really bad problem. They're not supposed to be in. The concept is your colon is technically not inside your body. Even though it's inside your body, it's sealed enough that it's considered outside. So bacteria can live in there just fine. You never get sick from it until you have an ulcer or an eruption of some kind, or injury that breaks the intestinal wall. You get into your body cavity, you can get septic and you can basically die pretty quickly. But anyway, so that's the bacillus. And then the spiral bacteria, spirochetes, and this one genus called Spirilla, which is very common in the salt marshes as seen out here. You can be long corkscrew shapes that are several turns long, or some can be just barely like a turn and a half or whatever. And they dart about really interestingly through the water or through debris along the axis of the spiral. Oh boy, everything's getting smashed together now. This is very dramatic. So the cell is still intact, but I don't think it's too happy now. It's being smashed by this wavefront, and now some more debris is coming along to make it even worse. It's like a giant demolition derby. And now stuff is getting smashed together. So now is a good time to get the oil lens off of there because it's a big mess now. So there you go. That was slide number 1. That was pretty cool for the first slide of the night. I didn't have a chance to even check the whole damn slide. So much activity in just the first couple of minutes of looking at it. It was already done, and now it's already drying up. I'm going to quickly clean this oil off all the oil immersion lenses. You got to take good care of it. You have to use a special cleaning cloth. You get all the muck off of it, because otherwise it's basically a waterproof lens, but you don't want to leave the debris on there to get all gunked up, because the oil will coagulate and basically make it look very unattractive. And then if you get it badly enough, you have to take it in for service. Luckily, you can actually disconnect the objectives. Put a little dust cap on the microscope and just send the objective off to be cleaned. Or they're cheap enough, you can actually buy a new one. Some of these are only like 50, 60 bucks. Some are 120 bucks. And the really fancy scopes, they're, sometimes $300, $400 just for an objective. So that's why you got to take care of your stuff. All right, very cool. That is first slide. Again, that was gutter water just down the street in this very cold weather right now. So I want to try a different one. Let's see. This should be interesting, hopefully. There's a dog park right nearby, and there's a big bowl of water that fills up from the water fountain and drains, but it was still kind of wet when I went over there. So I added some more water to it, scraped around a little bit, just to see if I could collect any whatever the dog left behind in the water bowl, because the dog's mouths are everywhere. So there's a slight chance there's something cool here, but it could be completely dead and boring. Let's see what we can find. If I caught it right when the dogs are there, it'd be the best, because it'd be teeming with stuff in their mouths. Let's see what we can find. Okay. So far, just some air bubbles. More air bubbles. Some more fibers there. Let's try to do an oblique light here. Should be interesting. A bit of dark field action. Really makes all the debris pop, so you can quickly tell if it's air bubbles or something more interesting. It's kind of like what's also called bio art, or kind of phony space art. Some of this scenery here. Nothing good there. Lots of air bubbles. That's interesting. It's very short and dense. What the hell? Let's take a look at that. It's kind of like a hair. Doesn't have much color to it though. It's pretty small. Too small to be a hair. But coming from a dog's water dish, it would make sense. Let's take a closer look here. Yeah, looks like a hair. Nondescript. Translucent. A little bit of color to it, not much. I think you can see where it broke here on the end here. Yeah, you can see where the hair broke right there. So that was alright, it's not that interesting. Let's go back and see what else is on here. Lots of junk. Or debris of stuff, air bubbles. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, art debris, that's a good point. Thanks, man. Have a good Christmas and New Year if I don't see you. But if you do have a stream, I'll check it out. I'm going to do some more graphics for sure. There's some artwork here. Straight line. Angular artwork. Alright, well that slide was a bust. Let's make another doggy water slide. Might find something in there. Just the right one. Yeah. So I can stir this one up, get something going on. I did make sure to scrape the bowl a little bit, so if there's anything clinging to the metal, I would have picked it up. But it had been hours since the dogs were in the park, so it might have dried up enough where whatever was interesting is gone. Let's give it a shot. See some little particles moving there. That's just diffusion. It's kind of cool though. Let me zoom in on that. Just it's kind of a fun thing to look at. Particle diffusion. As the osmotic pressure of the water equals out. It's like a screensaver. Oh, now let's go back the other way. Look at that. That's wild. I have a reason to go this way now. Wild. Alright, so just junk. Lots of junk. A lot of junk. Air bubbles. Some random debris. Oh, wait a minute. I see some movement in there. What is going on there? Thought I saw some movement in there. And more diffusion of particles through some junk. Look at that. It's crystallizing. I think, oh, I know what it is. The heater just turned on and there's a breeze going across the slide. So it's getting almost dried out and then backing off as the breeze subsides. That's bizarre. So the screensaver type thing there. Yeah, that's weird. Very weird. Kind of stuff you can see under the microscope. It's always surprising. Alright, that was fun for a little bit. Now let's go back to search mode here. Debris, air bubbles. Cool looking air bubbles. Very spacey looking. More of that red debris stuff. Well, there's anything like in this last slide on this guy. This little debris. It's very red. Very, very red. Hard to tell in this camera view though. Let me fix that. There you go. A little more of the color comes out of it there. Appears to be something swimming around it. Very small, probably bacteria, just wiggling around. Yeah, still Brownian motion. Saw that in the last slide. Let's try something new. All kinds of debris. There's the edge of the cover slip. Sometimes you get stuff lingering at the edges. I always like to check the edges. I think last stream or stream before, there's a rotifer that kept hanging out on the edges, dipping down, where it was thicker part of the water. It kept coming in and out of focus. The little guy was just kind of like hanging out there for some reason. Yeah, nothing on that one. Okay, so the dog water is a wash. Let's give up on the dog water. Let's do one from my favorite. Planter outside that always has nematodes and other kinds of ciliates in there and stuff. There's gotta be something in there, even though it's really cold weather. It's got a nice color to the water, so there's definitely some debris in here from something. Let's see what we got. Almost always at least get nematodes in here. Some plant root thingy there. It's kind of a fun shape. If I can fix that light. Some color to it. Zoom in a little bit. It's kind of a spiky thing. This is a petunia plant pot with mostly petunias in it, but it could be something. Could be a piece of the petunia plant, could be something else. But it's got this. I see these a lot. These little spiky arrangements that break off the plant. Come on, there we go. A little bit of contrast with dark field. Kind of fun to see the particles swimming by it. Almost like nature's jacks, these little spiky arrangements. I'm seeing those little tiny things swimming. Those are some tiny little flagellates. Definitely not going totally with the current. So, but they're so tiny it'd be hard to get a good look at them. So I'm gonna skip those guys. Let's go back search mode again. Did something a little bit bigger this time. No, not even a nematode so far. It's unusual. plant part. It's kind of fun looking. Alright, so this plant piece is kind of cool, but if you saw off to the side, there is a little ciliate having some fun over here, going in circles. I'm going to have to zoom in, because it's really nice when they stay in place, and you can magnify them quite easily. There's all kinds of stuff on this. That plant never disappoints. There's always stuff on the plant. Let's see. Let's get a little closer, actually, because that's still too small. Okay, there's a little bit of oblique lighting there. Helps a little bit. Really attacking that piece of debris. That's the problem when they're really active like this. There's enough water in the Z plane where they can go up and down constantly and get out of focus on regular intervals. So it's hard to actually see details when they go in and out of focus constantly. That's a busy little guy though. This is one of those guys that actually kind of crawls on things, not just swimming around things, but actually crawls on it with its cilia-like legs, kind of like little insects. But I'm not sure what kind this is. This guy's quite busy. This is about 400 power. So he's kind of a small guy, but very, very active. Guy's suddenly gotten a lot more active. He was so much easier to follow before. Now he's all over the place. Ooh, look at that. Wow. Wavefront is coming in. Messing everything up. Slide is drying up. Now watch, it's going to butt off that little bit. It's going to pinch and it's going to go bing. No, maybe not. There you go. I just butted off. Now the wavefront continues. That guy's still tumbling here down by the wavefront. Just going to keep moving. Taking everything with it. Yeah, when I was a kid, we lived in Colorado, and you had the extremely cold, snowy winters and extremely hot, dry summers. Just all those extremes. You get in kind of desert-like mountain areas, and it was fun, but it would be hard to go back there now. I'd go there for a trip to enjoy it, and scenery and stuff, but I don't know if I could live there. Get spoiled with the ocean and the mountains and the grasslands and the desert nearby and stuff. It's a lot of reasons people live in the Bay Area. You get lots of international foods, and you get a lot of good jobs, and you get a lot of other things. But for me, other than family being here and friends and stuff, it's the all the different microclimates. You know, if you're into nature and into hiking, and into bird watching, and just photography and scenery, you can't beat it. This, you know, it's like 5 or 6 significant ecological zones in the area at least, depending on how they currently classify them. I'm way out of the loop now. I used to study ecology, but it's a long time ago. But yeah, you just get so much variety in a small place. I had a similar thing when I went to Costa Rica. It's like the California of the tropics. There's just so much stuff in that little country. So much variety. Just driving around from an hour here, 2 hours there, all of a sudden you're in a totally different area. And different geological formations and plant communities and animals to be found there, and really cool stuff. Oh, there's that one of those cool little root bits that came out of the plant. The plant there looks like an alien structure. Kind of like that. You ever saw the movie Life Force with the space vampires that came in Halley's Comet? And they have a big kind of organic tree-like thing. It's a spaceship. Looks like that. Kind of, sort of. With this weird umbrella kind of thing on it. Some petunia plant. Not sure exactly what that's. Just a piece of the root structure or a piece of the underground part of the stem. It looks really weird like that, but it's kind of cool. Anyway, wavefront keeps moving. Eventually going to join up all these water. Oh, another pinch. Here it goes. Boom. Never got a chance to check the whole slide out. Could have missed some good little critters. I don't see anything on the margins here. Debris. I didn't get any rotifers in here or nematodes, which is unusual. Oh, there we go. Just when I said no, there's a rotifer. Yay! Finally got a rotifer. Fix this so you can see him a little bit better. Needs some more contrast. So that little guy was unicellular. This is multicellular. This guy's got about 1,000 cells in him, and they're not a whole lot bigger than that little guy was. So it's kind of funny how they pack their cells in differently. He's not moving much. Let me zoom in before I lose the whole slide from the water changing. This is a good little specimen here. Nice little rotifer. So you can see a little foot on the right side there. It kind of retracts it. They kind of have this telescoping body, which is really interesting. That little foot comes out and can attach like a little glue substance, and then they have leverage. So when they start pumping that little corona thing, those lobes that pop out with the cilia on them, and he's doing it right now. You see this making suction with it. They need leverage with that foot. And those little thing in the middle looks like a seed, or like Sauron's eye a little bit. That little structure in the middle, it's moving around. That's called the mastax, and that's their little kind of crushing jaw kind of thingy. It's part of their, I believe it's called the pharynx in these guys, and they can pump that, and it creates a suction to pull stuff through the pharynx. And you can see all the little body parts in there. Look at all that stuff smashing together. Anyway, they have that little mastax will start pumping when they're starting to eat, and those, you can see the cilia already beating on at the top there, trying to pull some stuff in. And it's basically size rejection. Stuff will just keep bouncing off the top of the body there until it makes it through and gets all chewed up by the mastax. Fun little characters. Very animated. As you can see, very flexible. They can smash it into a little ball and stretch out really long. You can see all the organs and stuff inside stretch out with them. There, he's got his little cilia going there. Go get him. Get some food before the slide dries up. See those little bacteria next to it? He's trying to suck some of those guys in. Come on, buddy. It's not making the mastax go, though, so he's not really actively chomping anything yet. Just kind of probing around. Yeah, these guys are always a lot of fun. Very common. See them all over the place. Or you can even find them in your, something I haven't tried yet. If you collect some of the debris in your, you know, with the power off, obviously, from your garbage disposal, you can find these guys in your garbage disposal too, in the wet environment. Oops, wrong direction. See if he's putting that foot down. Sometimes you see he's retracted the foot. So they can do like an inchworm behavior. They can put the foot down and start pumping, so they have leverage, so they don't get pulled along with their own suction. And sometimes they just free float, swimming around like a little ghost. It's kind of a ghost shape as they kind of hover around, going from place to place. I have some really cool footage I haven't had a chance to edit yet. I shot from some pond footage, pond water, of them going from plant part to plant part, attaching the foot, kind of swimming over to another part, putting the foot down. Looks like a little ghost figure dancing around. It's pretty cute. these guys a lot. So you said Minnesota, right? Are you near like Minneapolis, St. Paul kind of area? I know that I'm a big fan of those Mystery Science Theater guys are from that area. And my dad's actually from Wisconsin, so I've been out in that area. Not to Minnesota, but to Wisconsin, which seems to be similar. Scandinavian, kind of, that's part of my ancestry is Scandinavian because all the people that flock to there. Used to that cold weather, ice fishing, lots of fried food, lots of fun stuff out there. By the Wisconsin Dells, which is kind of a tourist trap, where they have this kind of amphibious vehicles called the ducks. You can go right into the local river there on a former military amphibious vehicle. But I heard it's just brutal out there in the winter sometimes. I have a friend that lives up in Wyoming right now, and I've driven through Wyoming in the winter, and I couldn't believe it when I saw my dash. It was telling me the temperature outside on a road trip once. It said it was negative 14 Fahrenheit. I'm like, holy shit, that's cold. So I said, all right, I've had the heater on for a while. Didn't even think much of it. I'm going to put on my jacket, but go outside and see what negative 14 feels like. And of course, I ran right back in the car. I have pretty good tolerance for cold, but it was really damn cold, like bone-chilling cold. So I can't imagine like that being the temperature for days on end in some places. That's brutal. This one of my friends lives up in the mountains near kind of near Lake Tahoe, Truckee kind of area, a little north of there. Always having to blow out his property with the snow blower and shoveling and stuff. And my friend in Wyoming doing the same thing, just constantly wearing himself out with all the snow removal. But it's always funny, Mr. Science Theater always made jokes about Wisconsin a lot. And my dad being from there, and I've been there. It's like an in-joke unless you've been there. So it made the jokes pretty funny. There he goes, inchworming off the screen. There's that foot. So I have another video on my channel. I found some dead rotifers, and I was doing some close-up stuff and finding bacteria inside of them, starting to break them down and stuff. I had a little video that kind of explains what rotifers are and what's cool about them. Also showing the nice close-ups of the dead ones. Since it wasn't moving, it's very easy to study. And if you want to learn more about these guys, I put that video up there. It's kind of fun. And instead of this kind of canned generative ambient music I use for these streams, I can't be bothered to make hours of ambient music like this. The curated videos I put on my channel are either music I made with a friend years ago or some music I've made myself. So it makes the videos a little more interesting instead of this kind of canned ambient music. Even though it's generated by algorithm, after a while it starts to sound kind of samey. So I make these like 15-20 minute videos, sometimes shorter. Just put a couple little tracks in there and make it a little more unique than just a typical boring science video. Kind of stuff I grew up watching that I was forced to watch. So yeah, it's cruising around a lot, but it doesn't seem to be chomping. That Mastex is not moving at all. I'm not seeing it. Usually it's just like a chomp, 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 like a little mouth. But it's just kind of exploring at this point. I'm not seeing it really eating anything. back to lower power for a bit so you can see the whole body do its business. It's fun to watch these guys. A little more contrast here. That detail. Lots of stuff going on there. So 1,000 cells roughly. Quite amazing. Tardigrades have about 1,000 cells as well, but they're bigger usually. But it's funny, you can have a, like a stentor or a blepharisma or like even a large paramecium swim by, and they're almost the same damn size. Some are bigger actually, and they're one massive cell. It's pretty wild. Change this little generator a little bit. It's got some little sliders, make the music a little bit different. Wish I could get an intermediate scale. This is almost too small and the other one's too big. I'd like to get a little bit more. Unfortunately, my dissecting scope has a nice zoom feature, but this is basically fixed objectives. You have to keep switching. I'm gonna have to, I think I bought an extra one somewhere. It's somewhere in between. I'm gonna have to get a 60 millimeter non-oil objective so I can get a little bit bigger on certain things. Not too big. I think I can get a 20 as well. Get some intermediate sizes. I also have this scope can also do phase contrast, which is really cool with biological specimens, but I have to hook up a bunch of stuff to get it to work. But it's pretty stunning how it brings out the detail in transparent objects. Yeah, it's just the stuff at the scale is just fascinating. I mean, you can see there's this one, I hadn't shot one for a while, but there's a group of cilia. It's called euplodes, and they actually have fused cilia that form these little looks like little bristles or legs, like called cirri, C-I-R-R-I, and they actually walk on them like legs. So you actually see them going up to some surfaces like a blue-green algae or some other kind of algae or debris or a larger animal of some kind that's kind of still, and they'll just walk on them like an insect. You just see them suddenly just start crawling on this thing instead of swimming. It's just the most bizarre thing. And this is a single cell, but it's acting like a small insect. And I had never seen, most of the stuff I've done since I started this channel, I never even saw before. I mean, I did a lot of microscopes in lab, in college, and even in high school. As I was getting my degree and stuff, and just stuff I learned in the last just a year and a half before I started the channel. It's just brutal. There's so much stuff. They don't teach this stuff very well, to be honest, unfortunately. So although I'm not going into heavy duty detail on these streams to try to bore people with too much terminology and details, just the visual tricks that I'm pulling off here and learning with some of these tools that I could have done in lab if I had known about them, but even the teachers had no idea how to do oblique lighting and dark field and phase contrast and all this kind of stuff. So we didn't have any of that shit, and it's just a shame, because even a pretty decent basic microscope with the right tricks and and add-ons and stuff can do all kinds of fun things to help you visualize these guys much better than just a boring microscope. So it was quite eye-opening, and in a way kind of depressing, because I'm like, man, for years I missed out on all this cool stuff. I was working part-time as a naturalist at the local kind of Bayland salt marsh area, talking about birds and wildlife in general, and I ran the microscope lab, which is how I got back into this stuff so much. And just the kids were just digging it, because they're not getting this stuff in school very well. And if they are, the teachers don't know anything. We had some teachers on staff who I basically had to make a manual on the critters of the area, because they're calling everything, oh, it's a paramecium. It's like, no, that is not a paramecium. That is blah, 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 you know. And to show them why it's not that. And so I made a visual color code from pictures I took at the microscope on premises, and a bunch of research I did online, and some books that I had for stuff that was a little hard to figure out. I even asked some friends, some people I met at the U.S. Geological Survey at an open house about some stuff that was helpful as well. So you just got to ask the right people. You find out all kinds of information. And then you can spread it on to the kids and to the adults that come by, because unfortunately a lot of the teachers have a real basic knowledge of stuff and don't go much further. It's just a job to them. They're not really into it that much. But I was digging this stuff. Gave me a nice break from IT for a while, and then got back in IT again after that, because I had a new interest in IT after taking a break from IT for a couple of years, being a zookeeper, part-time naturalist. And some of the water samples I was talking about before came from the zoo where I used to work at in Palo Alto. And to this day, some samples I got from the flamingo pond was one of the best slides I've ever made in 25 years of microscope tinkering. It was everything on the slide. You know, it was paramecium, amoeba, this little hairy, aggressive multicellular guys called gastrotrick. There was just so much stuff on this slide. It was unreal. And I got a bunch of video of it before the slide started to dry up. And I haven't had a chance to edit all the footage yet. I shot like hours of footage. It's crazy. The trailer on my channel, if you go to the main page and it auto plays that little trailer, it's like a 2-minute trailer. The first few clips in there of the paramecium and the amoeba and some other stuff are all taken from that single slide from the pond. It's phenomenal. But I have a bunch more I haven't had a chance to edit yet to make a bigger video of how much you could do in one slide from one sample from a small pond. It's just amazing what you can find sometimes. And it's hard. You can't really study these things for too long, because as you try to wash them back into a vessel to keep them for a while, if you had a kind of a rare guy on the slide, you might lose him in the process or smash him. And as the slide dries up, they also can die. So it's hard to keep slides for more than, you know, a single viewing like this. There's a couple guys online who are way into this stuff, and they make humidifying chambers where they actually keep the slides for weeks sometimes. As long as there's enough material on the slide, the animals don't starve. They're getting oxygen because it's not, you know, totally sealed up. And there's moisture so that the slide doesn't evaporate. And they can actually study the same slide for just a week or two and get some really good footage of stuff that I can only catch in a short bit here with these things before they start to dry. As you saw, the slide was already starting to dry up, but this guy is still okay for now until the wave comes in to take him away. But yeah, the zoo had we got some new birds there since I was there. Flamingos, what are they? Scarlet ibises, which are beautiful birds. There's a peacock that's still there from before. There's some whistling ducks, and what else did we have there? Oh, there's a bird from Africa. It's really interesting, called a hammerkop. It's a pretty good sized bird. It makes these giant nests that are like, something an animal normally you would think would be 3 times its size would make. Kind of this big kind of pile of debris nest. And so it started to make a nest in the zoo. They made a cool thing where they netted off the area and did this thing called Loose in the Zoo, where you can walk through there. You come in carefully with a double door kind of deal, and you're basically walking through where all the animals are. They're all open, and they're flying around you, and you get pretty close to them, and it's pretty cool. But this one particular pool there has all these birds hanging out there. So all the stuff they're eating and all the stuff they're in contact with, and whatever the public brings in with them, because their shoes bring in stuff and all that, and stuff gets washed as they hose down stuff. Stuff gets washed into the pond, and so there's quite an interesting collection of critters in that pond in the catch trap. Well, the filter thingy is. That's where I got the sample from, and it was just amazing. So I'm gonna go back and get some more samples from my friend, get some crazy footage from that. He's my friend who still works there. He's a guy who ran. I don't know if you saw a post I put up a while back. He has a radio show he's had probably 20 years at KFJC, the local college radio station. And he's Captain Jack. He's this pirate character. He just does for like 20 years. And I had just done a live modular set a couple months ago, and I was saying, hey, you gotta check out this setup I got. And he said, oh, we're doing Noise Week or something like that, or Noise Day or whatever it was. Come in and do some noise live on the air. So I brought my modular and did a bunch of crazy stuff on his show. I put it on my Facebook thing at one point. It's probably still up there, but anyway, he's into music and radio and also the animal stuff. So it's cool to hang out with him and do all this crazy stuff. This guy's starting to slow down a little bit. I wonder if he's sensing the slide is drying up, or maybe it's getting a little warm. Let me zoom in again before we lose him. Got that artifact on my stupid camera. There's that little pink spot. I can't do anything about it. I have to get a new camera. Yeah, these guys are so big you have to focus through them to see all the layers. There's so much stuff going on. And you can see they have this kind of a wrinkled look to them. It's funny because they have like what would be rudimentary muscles, like you see how this stuff kind of interacts and stretches and overlaps just like your muscles do in your arms and stuff. It's just so cool that they're so simple and so primitive, but on a certain level they look a lot like some of our body parts do on a much larger scale. You can see the little mouth part there moving. It's getting a little suction with the mouth parts. So some of these are pretty active swimmers. Some species are like very sessile. They just sit there and just kind of create a suction and just kind of let stuff come to them. Other ones look more like, they move more like inchworms. They just kind of, I've never seen them attach. They just kind of inch around the slide. It's like they all have slightly different behaviors. That stuff kind of slides over itself and interacts. The tissues are really wild. with that little foot. It's funny. It's like this little spiky thing that puts down like this. It's almost like a little tripod that will stick down and just kind of glue itself to the ground or to a piece of plant material or something like that. So you get some leverage. You can see how he pulls it away. That has some little bit of sticky. The Gastro-Trick I mentioned, they kind of have a similar thing too. They have this little spiky tail that also can adhere to stuff for leverage as they're kind of going around kind of chewing up stuff. They're predatory. There's some guy that's too big for it to eat cruising by. Too funny. Captain Jack from Air, that's funny. Yeah, there's gotta be, you know, it's just the way things worked out. There's gotta be some life somewhere else. It's just, you know, we're the place to be in the solar system. So most likely, although Mars potentially had some difficult but almost Goldilocks zone for a short period of time, it's most likely they're not going to find shit there. But yeah, certainly any other Goldilocks zone kind of planet, or even a life form that's not necessarily something we're aware of, silicon-based life or whatever, could be easily found other places. Lots of options out there, based on the concepts at least, until they actually find it. But I'm pretty sure, you know, we're not alone for sure. With if you just look at the extrasolar planets they found in the last 15, 20 years or whatever. I mean, I was, one of my friends is working at NASA Ames. He was working for SETI for a while, so they kind of defunded him, kind of, sort of. And he was involved in all kinds of stuff. He was doing like spoke formations in Saturn's rings and all kinds of esoteric stuff, studying with different guys. And he started on this whole stellar wobble stuff, for basically if there's a body going around a planet based on the Newton's basic laws, basically is something going around something, even if it's small, is going to perturb it a little bit at least, if not a lot. And because the orbit's usually it's usually elliptical, where you have the concept of two foci, the two focus points, and a planet's going to be either in one location or another location, based on the orbital mechanics as they understand them. So they look for stellar wobbles, and if a star looks like it's wobbling, guess what? It's got a bunch of shit going around it. It could be a couple gas giants, it could be a lot of terrestrial planets, it could be all gas giants, nobody knows. So they started finding, you know, stuff that wasn't life candidate planets based on what they could measure, but, you know, interesting planets. And I remember I started going to some website, and oh, they found 10 extrasolar planets. Oh, they found 20. They're in the thousands and thousands by now. I forgot how many they got by now. And the chances of not one of those having some kind of conditions where there's some kind of life would be extremely bizarre, I would think. But it does have to kind of be just right. You know, there's the Mass X going a little bit there. You can see it moving. Well, it was moving a little bit. So it's out there. They probably won't find it in our lifetimes, but as long as we don't kill each other with nukes or some other horrible environmental disaster, it should be around for at least them to find evidence of it somewhere, I would imagine, in the next couple hundred years, with all the research they're doing and probes and new technology. Yeah, I remember they were talking about Europa. The crazy stuff when you get out to those other planets and the moons, like Titan is supposed to have seas of methane, like liquid methane, which is fucking crazy. Those are really cold. And of course, Io has this crazy volcanic activity, and it's just nuts. Oh, was he just eating there? What was that? Oh, I missed him. Get a little nibble. Yeah, he's got something inside there. See that? It's moving around the mouth parts, but I don't know if he actually got it in there or not. This guy's pretty lethargic. Usually it's like that little mouth part just going to town, chomp, 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 but this guy's pretty mellow. I imagine the slide is probably getting kind of warm, and also since the other parts are drying up, I'm sure the water's not the best. Oh, there it is. There's the waterfront. Sorry, dude. Let's go back to lower power. See what this guy's up to here. Go, get out of the way. Run for your life. This is probably not that far away from the edge. There's actually quite a bit of water left still. But it's only a matter of time. Yeah, I've got a chance to do some cool astronomy stuff this year. I'm still going to start up that Astro channel one of these days. I gotta see if I can get my telescope and camera configuration so I can do a live stream style with higher quality optics and light sensitive camera, and actually take 2-minute exposures and have them be good enough for live streaming. So it's almost live. For planets and certain stars, it could be easily done live because they're very bright and colorful, but I could even do some galaxies and some nebulae and stuff like that. It'd be kind of fun to do that as a live stream. So luckily the weather's been cold and horrible lately. It's cloudy and stuff, so it's just as well I don't have the equipment now anyway. But some of the best viewing's actually in the winter. So if I can get my shit together, I'm gonna have my other channel, which I started but doesn't really have anything on it yet, called MicroAddict. It's gonna have astronomy live streams. So kind of like this, but astronomy stuff. Should be fun, and give me an excuse to use my scopes more. So right now I don't use them that much, even though I love to. But I did see some good stuff this year. I went to Yosemite for a little bit. Got the crazy views, high altitude, super dark skies, and got to witness the Ganymede shadow transit on Jupiter, which is just phenomenal. My friends have taken pictures of it for years, and I've seen glimpses of it here and there, but never had that great of a view of it, just the conditions and timing and stuff. But I had basically a couple hours one night. I was just sitting there watching it come and go. And it was just cool, just there by myself, having fun. And there's the poor rotifer getting pushed aside. No, rotifer. Alright, I feel bad for this guy. I'm gonna get him out of here before he gets smashed. Put him back into his little tray here. I'm gonna take another bit from the part you missed earlier. There's a really cool puddle that had some good stuff in it earlier. If you watch earlier in the stream, there's a really cool flagellate. It's very small. I mean, I had to zoom into 1000 power with an oil lens to see it, but once I did, it was pretty phenomenal. Giant flagella coming off this thing as it was trying to kind of get some nutrition from some block of junk. And it's just really fun to watch it. You can really see the detail of it, the contractile vacuoles pumping. You can see the amount of suction it's creating by whipping the flagella around, bringing stuff to it. So this is from pond of like a gutter collection of water. There wasn't much standing water tonight when I went for a walk. I was able to collect some stuff in this gutter. And the first slide was excellent. Spent 45 minutes on that first slide just because it was immediately really cool. But right now I don't see anything on this one. Big air bubbles. Not seeing anything significant. Moving around. Oh. It's like a human fiber from something. It's kind of bluish in color. Some industrial fiber, clothing fiber or something. It's kind of hard to show it on the camera. The camera's not giving that much color. Let's see if I can adjust that. See some of the color here. And not quite. Maybe the dark field will help a little bit. Yeah. It's really showing. It looked kind of bluish on the one angle. Could have been some refraction. So, no goodies here. Alright, nothing there. Make another one real quick, and I'll give up on that bottle. Just in case, because the first slide was really good. Let's see what's on this one. Maybe this one will be better. Got a little extra water on there. I was kind of sloppy with the water. There's a very fast little, looks like a flagellate there, but man, is it fast. You probably can see that they're whipping through there. There's no way I could follow that guy. He's just too fast. This would be the most difficult video game ever to follow that guy at higher power. There's the thing you can put on a... There's another one right there. Boom, that guy's fast. Look at him go. It's the stuff they use in the effects industry. When you have, like the Ghostbusters guys getting slimed. Oh, there's a nice slow one right there. Perfect. And you'd also use it for Alien, when the alien slimes and stuff comes out of its jaws. And it's called methylcellulose. And I guess it's also a food additive sometimes as well. But there's a nice little guy right there. And anyways, I have some powder you mix up, and depending on how thick you want it, the ratio to waters, different stuff you put in there. And you put a drop on the cell, and these guys are already technically swimming through pretty difficult conditions because water at this scale is kind of thick for them. But you put methylcellulose on there, and it's like they're swimming through mud. And so you have to put them through a little extra effort. But man, they slow down. You can really watch the fast guys move very slowly, so you can study them. There's that fast one again. Look at him go. Whoa. Off the screen. Go back to the slow one. This is one of the ones I find all the time in this plant. If you watch other streams I had, one of these guys almost always dies on the slide because either he's already lived his full life, or the heat from the slide gets to him, or something else. Whoa, that guy went right through the frame. And I had a couple of these guys actually break up on the slide. It's pretty dramatic. He's a little fast. I want to put a higher power, but he's a little fast. Man, that guy's fast. Look at him go through there. Alright. I'm gonna brave it, but I have to be quick because I'll lose him otherwise. So let's see if I can get this guy in here. Fix the lighting. Okay, where'd you go? Now the fun part, because he moved since I went high power. I have to find him again. I forgot which direction he was going. Oh, there's another one. Oh, that's a diatom. That's cool. I haven't found a diatom on the planter yet. That's another cool thing to look at. Single cell plant. Has a glass shell, silicon dioxide shell. This is the, you get enough of them together in mass white powder formations, and they use it as a filter. It's used for your pool filter, called diatomaceous earth. It's millions of these little guys as glass skeletons. And there's something there next to it that's also alive. Look at that. That's kind of small. It's moving kind of like an amoeba, but... Oh, there's a bunch of cool shit on the slide. Look at that diatom go. You can see the kind of yellow-green color. The type of chlorophyll they have is kind of a yellow-green instead of a typical plant that has kind of bright green chlorophyll. They also produce oil droplets, and they supposedly move with this. They used to think it was ion gradient concentration, but when they studied them closely, they learned that they have Some of them more obvious than others, but it looks like they have this kind of ridge with lines, like a comb almost. Looks like a comb, and they exude these little slime trails. They actually kind of push this kind of slime material through the comb to push them along. And last I heard, that wasn't even 100% the mechanism, but that's kind of the closest I got to explaining how these guys move. Because first of all, you don't think about plants moving at all, right? You think about animals moving, but these are single-cell plants that actually move to find bright light so they can photosynthesize. And this is a kind of a funny shape. It's a kind of a squash banana. But some of them look like coins or like a sand dollar kind of thing. One I found, I have a video of it. I haven't found one since, but they're really cool. They open like a giant puzzle. They hinge, and they can slide out along the axes and stretch out. So some of these things are just so fascinating. But yeah, it's a diatom. Crazy. Didn't expect to find a diatom in the planter thing. Okay, so that's a diatom. What else did I find over here? There's some other cool things nearby. Whoa, one of those fast guys just went through there. What was that other thing that was really cool? Oh, another diatom. This is more of a squared off one. Yeah, there are a bunch of diatoms in that thing. That's crazy. Oh wait, this is the okay, yeah, this is the gutter sample. That makes more sense. It's not the planter box. Yeah, there's a bunch of diatoms in the gutter. Really nice. Ah, come on. Thing's very touchy. It's fun to see plants swimming around. You can see some bacteria in the background with the Brownian motion doing the wiggle dance. It's It's moving pretty fast. Ah. Cool. So diatom. What else we got here? We got two kinds of diatoms. And a rotifer on the last slide. Some other cool stuff back here, but I moved so much I lost track of it. Oh, look at that little guy. That kind of wiggly, kind of nervous motion, that's a flagellate. He's whipping that flagellum. Makes the whole body quiver. Look at him go. Boy, went way up in the... Gotta focus all the way through the water. He went up high. Look at that. Nervous little guy, quivering around. Okay, I'm gonna have to zoom out, I think, because I missed some good stuff, but it took forever at this power to search everything. Where was that thing? Some kind of a ciliate that was just kind of sitting still. Perfect one to study it, but then I saw the diatom. Go up a power. That was 400 power. Now we're back down to 100 power. All kinds of little guys swimming around. It's just tons of little fast characters here. Probably find some more diatoms, but I'm looking for... Ooh, that's interesting. What was that right there? Nice. Some kind of plant cell. It's too small and too simple to be a colonial one like a Volvox, which is really interesting. I haven't seen one of those for a long time, but it's definitely a nice little formation there. Let's go more light. Nice color. All this from just some gutter water after rain a couple days ago. These could also be from the sprinklers that were going on the other day. Get a little oblique lighting on this guy. More 3D. That's pretty cool. Alright, back to the search. Let's do a dark field here. It always helps. That's the green guy in dark field. That's kind of nice. I should go back to that real quick. Very nice. Another green sphere there. Oops, another one's a little small. Silly, it's just kind of winding its way through background. Alright, where's some bigger stuff? Wow, very colorful. Definitely some man-made stuff there. Blue, green, blue and red together. Industrial pigments. More green stuff. Ah, there's one of those guys I was looking at earlier. Not too fast. Yep, there you go. He's pretty active. He's not on a search pattern as usual, so you have to follow this one around a bunch. Alright, I saw one of those earlier. Let's go look for some other stuff. I got diatoms in here. I gotta have some other cool things too. Let's go back to dark field. Those guys swimming around. More green goodies. Looks like a diatom shell there. It's a little rod. Another green sphere. It's like a nice spacing with a green planet. Got how much of those green spheres in here? Let's go back to that one. Where was it? Find another one. It's like some green algae. Oh, there goes a guy swimming through there. Ew. Let's check out this fiber here. Might be a blue-green algae or something. It's very small. Very, very small. This is 400 power. Not seeing too much structure there, but definitely has a greenish tint to it. So it looks like some kind of blue-green algae, maybe. Let's keep going. Let's keep going and find some other stuff. Ooh. There's a shift there, so slide is starting to dry, it looks like. More green spheres, look at that. A ton of those green spheres. Let's go back. Search again. Another ciliate making the rounds. Oh, hey Paul. Sorry, I was distracted. I didn't see the chat. Got this is gutter water. It's been kind of dry here. They've had a little bit of rain, but it's been really cold for this area. It's for like 40 degrees at night, which is for the Bay Area quite cold. Not quite freezing, but close enough. And was out earlier tonight looking for some water samples because I haven't had a chance to go anywhere cool in a while to collect some water. So I was looking for local water. And I found some gutter water, and I thought I'd drop by the local dog park, which is a short walk away, and look for whatever could have come out of the doggies' mouths into the water bowl. But unfortunately, they have an auto draining thing, which makes sense for keeping the bowl clean. which means there wasn't any standing water for critters to grow in it. So I added water to it anyway and kind of scraped it to see if I could collect anything, and the dog water had absolutely nothing good in it. But I did get some good stuff from this gutter water. Ooh, there's a nice one right there. Look at that guy. Wow. But he's fast. I got to keep up with him. Whoa. And so this has been good. This is the second or third slide I made from this, and it's had some really good stuff in it. If you go back and look at the stream, but the plant one, oh, nice. That looks like I think that's a Stylonkia. It's got the long tapered body and the bristles on the top and bottom. Very cool. This is a very good slide. So you gotta love gutters. This is why kids get, mostly from the bacteria, but kids get scrapes and get in the gutter, and it's kind of dirty because there's a lot of critters living in the gutter and you get infections. So, but it also makes them fun. Come on, focus, you bastard. Oh, I lost him. There he is. I can change the light on this a little bit. It's a little too washed out. That's a little bit better. Okay, where'd you go? Oh, there's that guy again. I want the long one. There it is. It's like a little sparkling jewel. I would go closer, but you can see that shift there. The slide is starting to dry out. These are pretty cool. Yeah, some of these guys got like a search pattern. They kind of go on this. Sometimes they go in a little pattern. Sometimes they go in just kind of random. Ooh, there's a fast one. Just going through the frame. This is a great slide. There's all kinds of shit on here. Look at this one. This is the kind of one I've seen these guys a lot. If you watch my other streams, in the last couple months, a couple of these guys died on the slide. They're very common. But this one I see once in a while, but it's kind of fun to see it again. It's got the little bristles coming out of the top. It's almost like a mustache. They have these kind of fused cilia that are called cirri. Some animals have a bunch of this fused cilia and they walk on them like little legs, but these guys just have them on the top and bottom. God, there's all kinds of stuff in one shot here. Look at that. There's one over here. There's a very busy slide. Pretty cool. There's a guy up here. There's a fast guy going through. There's a guy over here. Holy moly. There's some of those green guys. Oh, there's the wavefront. Hurry up, guys. Gotta get away. Get away. You have no idea what's heading for them. These guys are so fast. Man. Alright, let's quickly get the rest of the slide before I miss whatever's cool over here. Oh, there's the edge of the slip, so, okay. The impending wall of doom. I had some diatoms earlier on the slide, but I can't find them again. They must be outside the cover slip. I'm not seeing any diatoms. of debris. Oh, little guy again. There's that one that's shaped more like a paramecium. It's tapered on top and bottom. And quite quick. But nowhere near the size of a paramecium. But fun and fast. This is why I have to hook up when I get my new camera for the telescope. I'm also going to use it for this stuff because it's going to be a much higher quality image and it has good quality slow motion. So I can capture a lot of the stuff in slow-mo. Go back and study these guys and get some high quality frame grabs for identification purposes. Because they're so damn fast. Oof. Alright. It's good enough for that guy. He's too fast. There he is again. Oh, he took a break. Stop. He stopped. Oh. Not for long. And he's off again. Alright, I'm going to probably make people seasick, so I better stop. Let's go look at... Where's the wavefront? It's up here. There it is. Coming in to smash everybody. There's a little tiny guy here zipping around. Yeah, water shifting again. You can see the debris move. Yeah, weird. I can't find the diatoms anymore. Wild, wild, wild. Yeah, this is a very busy slide. This is the most busy slide I've had in a while. I had a feeling that a gutter might be interesting, but not this interesting. It's very good. Since this slide's about ready to go kaput, let's do one more gutter slide. So far, it's the most fruitful slide out of the whole. We basically have 3 test tubes full of goodies. The plant I usually take stuff from is decent, but so far this gutter one's awesome. Trick is to get some of this muck. It's like a little bit of a gray-brown suspension in here, which is all those wonderful particles you're seeing on the slide that these guys love to hide in. Let's see what we got now. Some big particles in here. Some air bubbles too. That's kind of cool. It's like you can see like little quartz crystals in there and stuff. Like little ice cubes. Alright, so let's go. What do we got here? Got all kinds of debris here. Some of this debris is kind of tall, so it made some air pockets. Some of the green stuff. There's a little guy swimming between the rocks. That's kind of fun. He's kind of bound in those little rocks. Let's see what that's going on there. Yep, it's like a pinball going between the rocks. Got too much debris on this one. lot of debris. Oh, noise in between these rocks. He's got a water wall. Can't go through there. What's on the other side of this water wall? Let's see, where's the edge of that slide? That's the edge of the slide. There's the edge of the cover slip. Lots of little things swimming through here. Nothing big. Yeah, there's one of those guys again. Very active. What else we got here? Rocks and debris. There's a little dude right there. It's got an interesting shape to it. What's going on there? That needs to be investigated. Oh, it's because it's bringing some stuff with it. There's some stuff stuck to it. This is similar to the one I had earlier with the flagella. This one's more free. The other one was attached. You can see the little hair sticking out way in front of it. I had to use oil immersion lens to really get a good look at it, so I did that earlier. I'm not going to do that now. Let's go back to it's got a different view here. Let's see what we can see with the light background. Bunch of little guys down here. Nothing grabs me. I'll do one more slide of this thing. The last one was so good, I'm gonna do another one. Okay, Paul, I didn't get a chance to listen to your recent video. Let's check that out. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. More of those guys. He's actually got stuff stuck to him as well. He's got a little passenger going around with him. Ah! Little thing stuck to him. do a quick scan. Lots of little guys. Whole lot of little guys. There's another one. Those little tapered ones that are really fast. More guys. This one's pretty busy as well. Look at all those guys swimming around. A couple of good guys there. Oh man, 3, 4. Very busy. Not too fast. Let's double check. Yeah, see him making the rounds there. Yeah, that's mostly it. That first one had a lot of stuff. It had diatoms and all kinds of cool stuff on it. Very cool. Well, I didn't even have dinner early yet, so probably should get some dinner. It's already 10 o'clock. Yikes. Thanks for showing up, guys. If you're still there. If you're not, please enjoy the replay. Let me know if you make comments and questions or whatever. And this has been what? It's been going for a while. Lost track of how long it's been going on. It's says somewhere on the damn stream. Just curious how long it's been. Oh, this damn mouse. Come on. 3 hours. Roughly. Not bad. Good stuff. Yeah, about 3 hours. Yeah, there's some really good stuff earlier, Paul. I didn't get a chance to even put chapters in my last live stream, but I'll definitely add chapters to this so people can jump right to the good stuff. But check it out. There was some cool things for sure. As usual, there's always something weird that comes up and puzzles to figure out because some of these things are really hard to identify sometimes, but there's always a blast. So thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.